Hello and welcome to GTO Coach and Go. I'm Jim Delleman with Group Travel Odyssey. I want to thank you for joining us today as we enter into April. And before we get started with today's topic, I do want to remind you, if you've not done so yet, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to click that little subscribe button below. Why? Hit the subscribe button below. And also, if you ring the bell, you will be notified anytime we have new content on our YouTube channel. You can also connect with us on LinkedIn at Group Travel Odyssey and make sure to like and follow our Facebook page as well. Today, we are going to take you and introduce you into some little bit of new information here. So in order to do that, I'm going to bring on Corey Vries. Hey, Corey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you, Jim?
I'm fine. For some reason, I don't know why, but whenever I'm talking about our YouTube channel, I seem to just completely become tongue-tied. So
It's okay. It's okay. I didn't even know we had a YouTube channel. So
you're the one who hasn't subscribed. That's
it is me. Oh wait, where do I press? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, as I was saying, today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to start talking about a refresh, something that's coming our way throughout the rest of 2025. And as we're affectionately calling it, GTO 2.0, an exciting refresh coming your way.
It's exactly right. And first, I have to mention this is no April Fool's joke. So in case somebody's going, oh, they're just trying to put one over on us. No, this is a true thing.
It's funny because as Corey and I were talking about this and planning this, we were speaking to one of our content people, and she goes, "You do realize, don't you, that you're doing this on April 1st?" And I was like, "Oh." So yeah, we're not joking. This is actually something that is coming out. We just chose April 1st to tell you about it. So GTO 2.0, Corey, what does that mean?
Well, what it means is for most everybody on the system, they've been dealing with the same interface for its entire run. A couple of people had a refresh several years ago now into what was not a new look. It was just reorganized differently for people. But now we've been presented with an opportunity to better utilize our resources at hand. So our host system has sort of upgraded its systems, and now we're able to upgrade your system, your user interface, your interaction with things. So that's really what we're talking about today is the 2.0 means we're spending this year updating all the interactions that you have in GTO. And we're just going to kind of give you a sort of a taste of it today, and then a little bit of a timeline. So when we're talking about refreshing something, we're talking about making it look different, right? It's not just rearranging things. So what I'm showing you here is actually a standard beginning home page, dashboard for the home app. So I'm here in the home app, Enterprise Travel Company, and you could see it has the navigation buttons. Everyone here should have seen something similar to this. Your company may have different buttons or different reports that are showing here, but it has the tabs along the bottom and navigation buttons, reports. You can add a help desk, go to community forum. You can do all these things. This is what the current homepage looks like, right? When we say we're going to upgrade it, we're going to say that we're going to make it look more like this. And so basically it has the exact same amount of stuff on it, but you'll notice I have actually a little bit more room for some things. And that's because we have better use of real estate. So, you know, we have your logo, which we could shrink down if you wanted more stuff in here. We still have the system navigation, meaning you can go directly to sales manager, trip manager, passenger manager. We have your help and support access, your community forum, your company manager, your GTO help, your supplier help desk. You can access all those. And this is, again, still customizable. So I don't want you to think that you can't, like, you want your navigation buttons over on the right or on the left or whatever you want. You can still do that. But you'll also notice that not hidden at the bottom are the tabs, but up at the top there are tabs instead. So that's one of the things that's changing. Now, is that a major change? It is not. We haven't gotten to the major stuff yet. I just want you to notice that we have a lot more real estate on this homepage than we did before. Plus, I mean, not to, okay, so we used to have square buttons. Now we have rounded buttons. Those aren't big deals either. I want you to be aware of, but there are some kind of interesting things that are going to come out with this. For instance, you can access GTO digital resources now when we upgrade to this. Here's our Coach and Go archive. You can see our integrated partners. You can follow us on our social media. The Coach and Go that we are doing right now would be playing right here on your homepage if you were looking at it. So you have a way to watch Coach and Go's from GTO. You don't have to
That's
go
great.
out. Yeah. You could see your open help desks. I don't have any, but you can see them. You can see the Broadway schedule. That's on the other one. Also, open trip tasks. Here's sales manager, trip manager, group accounting. So the dashboard is going to look a little bit different in your homepage. So that's really cool with some new exciting things, to add to it, right? Some new resources. Another new resource, and this has actually always been there, but I'm just going to mention it really quick, which is a company Rolodex and a calendar app. Both of these things have been part of the home app for a long time. I'm just going to mention them real quick. All the calendar is a calendar. This is not a calendar for your trips. This is a calendar for you to keep track of your things. So I actually use this calendar in my life so that I can do all my business trips. I can do my personal stuff on here. Many of you know I'm a musician, so I have engagements that I need to put on my calendar. I keep it here because I can access it through my phone, and it doesn't my company stuff, like my company travel, my appointments, my events can all be on this calendar. And just by adding a new event all the time, and that makes it really easy and easy to access from your homepage. The company Rolodex has not been called a company Rolodex. For those of you who have no idea what the term Rolodex means, you're going to have the easiest time dealing with this versus, other people. But if you do know what a Rolodex is, basically it's the phone number book that you used to keep on your desk. You don't want, like, let's say you have a florist that you use in town and you just want to keep track of it. You don't want it in your phone. That's just one more contact to fill up your phone. You just want to keep track of like things in like your local printer, right? That's not something you would keep in Supplier Manager. You just want to keep them on hand. Or you just want to keep a track of your own personal numbers. That's fine too, right? You would keep track of them in some sort of Rolodex. And we've given you that opportunity. You don't have to use it. But I actually have used it for all the phone numbers for people that I don't necessarily keep track of in the Supplier Manager or in the Sales CRM or in the Passenger CRM. Where do you keep those numbers? Where do you keep the numbers of it's hard for me. Like a florist comes to mind, something that you would use maybe to send birthday things or something like that you want to keep track of, right? And this is the one we're going to use real quick to show you what a new form will look like in GTO 2.0. So you'll notice that the form looks a lot different than our forms are currently. First of all, you may notice that in our old forms, real estate gets underutilized. There's a lot of white space on our old forms that now gets condensed into very easy chunks. For example, you'll notice that this contact card right here in the top has 3 columns to it, each with different kinds of information, and we can color code them so you can see the difference between them. What's really kind of cool is in some instances, if an address needed to be filled in and wasn't, we can make it turn red until you do fill it in. So there's a lot of flexibility with those colors. But you can see it's kind of a new sleeker look, right? You'll also notice I can't type anything in here. That seems weird. That's because this is just the contact card. So we come down here to fill out our information, and you can see that all these fields are just fields like normal, but you can see that they're arranged in such a way to maximize out the real estate they're using. So I'm going to put in my friend Jim Delaman. Okay, he's the king.
Wow.
He is with Group Travel Odyssey. His email is jim@awesomeness.com. His website is jimisawesome.com. Put that www so we know that it's his mobile phone number, in case anybody wonders, is 555-555-5555. We don't need anything else. He lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, which when you search for that, it's funny to me, you can't really find it.
I hear he's moving.
That very well could be. Here we go. They don't like the one in they don't like letting you pick the White House in there, but we'll pick the one in Ohio, Salem, Ohio. That's where Jim lives. His birth date is 02/02/1932.
Hateful.
And then you can fill out spouse, children, personal things on him. I'm not going to put his personal stuff out to the world, as all the rest of this is fake, including Jim is awesome. But what's happened is this card now is filled up here at the top. And so I'm not only am I showing you how to fill out a contact card, but you can see you could do things like really create some cool displays here that we'll have. You can add his social media, his LinkedIn, his Twitter, his Instagram, his Facebook. And when I save this, now Jim is part of that record. But if you look at this again, you'll also see those tabs that you used to have, you can still have. So there will probably still be tabs that say, set pricing, set, add products, add your quotes, things of that nature. That will still be there. But you'll be able to do it in columns. You'll be able to utilize more of the space, see more that's going on. And you can tell without the side navigation panel, you've got a ton of room on this page now. So it's really going to work out a whole lot better for us and make it cleaner, sleeker, and easier to use. So that's really the point here. I wanted you to see what a 2.0 form would look like, right?
I think they'll also notice that there's a lot less scrolling from left to right.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Because it used to be that things would run off the page in our current forms that are used, but that is one of the things that's been taken care of with the forms that are being used in 2.0 that I really like, not having to worry about, what's off screen on the right,
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And we're able, it's able to be more step oriented for you to go through and do certain things. And again, it will turn red. We can now, if something isn't completed, we can actually show you what isn't completed on things that are required. We can show them in red so you know to go back and fix that section. Something just for fun, I don't think I mentioned already, is the Weather Center. This was sort of a fun thing we picked up over time. This actually will show you the weather in various different places around the United States. Cool. We just have a couple here. If you are at the White House, it's 55 degrees with a few clouds. If you're in Chicago, though, it's 39. Down at Walt Disney World, 88 degrees, and over in your neck of the woods, Jim, it appears to be 51 degrees and clear.
And it also appears to be really excited over on the right there. It's a little comfy, as we tend to be a little bit in New York. So
true enough. And if you wanted, I can get him to stop a little bit. There you go. So, and those can be customized. So if you wanted to, sort of see different places around. It's just sort of a fun thing, but it's really cool. If you want to keep track of what the weather is like on your Disney trips, you can do that. Right at the monorail too. If someone calls you and says it's pouring down rain here, I want my buddy back, you could be like, I don't think so, Joe. So get on your monorail and go in. Um, so in any event, this is our homepage. I wanted to make mention that it also includes the dashboard on the community forum. This has been also updated to have sort of more features, including like you can search the threads. It's a little easier to read. This is a system, announcements and alerts. And by the way, I believe there is coming a way for you to send system announcements to your staff through the system. So not you, Jim, but anybody listening. If you are an owner of a company or a manager, you could send alerts to other people. I believe that is a thing that is coming in the next year as well.
Excellent.
And then right now there's a media resources tab. This is all of our fast breaks. Just as a side note, having nothing to do with 2.0, fast breaks are in our system. We announce them every week in our email, and you can go and watch them. All you have to do is go to community forum and you can go. But sometimes you don't see them, and they're not made public on our YouTube channel just yet. So if you ever wanted to search through the fast breaks, go to community forum, go to media resources, and just sort of glance down. Like if you're worried about how a report's dashboard works, watch it. They're usually 3 to 5 minutes. I don't know that they're much longer than that. Like you say to yourself, what are the tour director day before and day after checkboxes? Well, go watch about it. And you could send us a help desk asking about it, but the fast breaks are faster. Otherwise they'd just be called break. So,
Thanks, Corey.
Yeah, no problem. How do you use the trip name override? They're just they're nothing. We didn't want to use up 30 minutes of your time to talk about.
Right.
So how to maintain your employees in the systems, things like that. So check that out as well in the community dashboard. You still have the discussion board. So if anybody ever wants to use that discussion board, sign it up. We could say, and you could ask questions to other tour operators. What do you do for this? How do like if you have any questions? I'm stuck. I don't have a place to go for one of my dining places was scooped up by aliens, and now I got to find a new one in like 2 days. Come and ask that. We monitor it for one, and for two, you might get a really great place from another tour operator, not just taking our word for it. So trying to be very community oriented in the community forum. And so, yeah, when we're dealing with these new dashboards, for one, you're getting new layout, a little easier to read, but coming is new forms for all the things that you're doing in GTO to change it to look to this new system so that it's easier to navigate, a little cleaner look, a little sleeker input of data into it. Now, I'm going to share a little bit of information with you, and that is, if you are using our tour sales manager right now, you've seen new forms already, because anything we've built in the relatively near future or near past was done in new forms. So if you're like, oh, that's why it looks different now, that's GTO 2.0 coming into play a little bit early. So we didn't get you started on one form and then flip you over to a new form. I fully know that this is going to be a change for people, right? And that always comes with a little bit of consternation, but I promise you, we're going to do a coach and go before we drop each one. I know Jim is going to ask me, so I'm going to just preempt him, which is, when does all this happen? Well, it will start at the beginning of this month in April, and then will be released sort of periodically throughout the year. We're hoping to have the entire project done by the beginning of 2026. Unless we run behind for some reason. Um, we will do a coach and go before each one. We'll let you play around in each one before we just flip you over. So just sort of be aware of that. We'll not just drop it in one day. You're not just going to wake up, log in, and it will be totally different.
Right.
So just be aware of that. We're trying to do apps as quickly as possible. We're trying to do Sales Manager and Trip Manager first. Sales Manager hopefully by the end of this month, but Trip Manager by the end of the summer. Sales Manager may end up a little bit later than that, depending on it's the biggest one. So we're just trying to make sure we hedge our bets a little bit and say, since Sales Manager is the largest one with the most changing of forms, that one might actually come a little bit later, but we're pushing for the end of this month. With a targeted release in August of Trip Manager, Passenger Manager in October, and then Supplier Manager by the end of the year. The other apps, things like On the Road, Help Desk, Home Community, you've seen Home and Community Forum, are almost ready to go now. They'll be sort of released periodically with these other ones. They're ones with fewer interfaces, so they shouldn't have as much needed help if that's going to be a problem for you, or as big a change. There won't be as big a change in what we see there, because some of them already have some new things. So, but don't worry, Coach and Goes will be there for you. So, and you could watch those at any time. And yeah, I think that's really what we're looking at here as far as our 2.0 release.
And in all honesty, it even when you get the new forms, when we're ready to release Sales Manager, when we're ready to release the big ones, you're going to notice that yes, it looks a little bit different, but the functionality, we're taking time to make sure that we line things up as much as we can, so that way it's not going to be different processes. The only time we might change a tiny little bit here and there is to improve the flow and improve the functionality. There are times when people have asked specific things, and can this do this? Can this do that? Well, with us having 2.0 on the horizon, some of those things we might be able to work in. So we've taken all of that into consideration as this refresh has started to happen. And so, with switching over to this whole new form system, it's going to give you a much cleaner look, and it's going to give you a much once you get used to it. And for me, it did not take me longer than like one time of using it until all of a sudden it was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And that's one of the things that I think that you'll be saying is, oh, that makes sense. If we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, the things that are working well are still going to work well. They're going to work in the same way. It just might look a little bit different. So it's not going to be as jarring as you may allow your mind to think it will be. But again, and we're not changing the way that we do anything as far as our customer service goes. So Carol will be there to help with any needs you may have during your office hours. Angelica and myself can help if you have questions about this. Corey as well. There are enough of us that we will hold your hand through this process and make sure that this becomes second nature to you, sort of like GTO did. The original GTO did. So I'm excited for you to see it. And as Corey said, none of this is live yet. So even the stuff that we've showed you today, even though it's, I would say probably 95, 98% ready, we want to make sure it's actually ready. And then we will start with the releases. He did mention about Sales Manager being first, and then Trip Manager, and working in that way. We were very conscious with trying to figure out what would be the easiest time frame to get some of these things out there. So for those of you who are in student season right now, we're trying to wait for that to be far enough along in process that this is not going to affect anything that you're currently doing. So we have taken all of that into consideration as we've come up with some of these ideas. And Corey, that was brilliant.
Yeah,
Thank you. I still can't get over
absolutely.
I still can't get over having to explain Rolodexes to people. And the reason Corey did explain that is as we were going through ourselves with the design and stuff like this, and we started talking about Rolodexes, some of our younger staff members just kind of looked a little glazed over about what a Rolodex might be. So
Yep. It's very true. Very true.
I
Yeah,
love
and
my
to your other
love my
point, Jim. Yeah, we can work with companies like just
yes,
because something is ready doesn't mean you have to switch to it that day, right?
right.
If you need to wait until certain trips are done and then we can worry about that, that's not a problem. So there is some
Absolutely
flexibility in when people switch over.
correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Well, again, if you have any other questions on this, by all means, you can contact any of us. You can contact our help desk as well, help@gtonetwork.com, and put help in the subject line. And we will respond very quickly just to make sure that you have all the information that you may need. Also, a reminder that GTO Coach and Go happens every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock daylight savings time. So join us again in 2 weeks where we will have possibly some more information on 2.0, possibly talking about something else, but you'll have to tune in order to see what that will be. Corey, thank you so much for joining us today. And again,
Absolutely.
if any of you have questions on any of this, by all means, reach out to us. You know that we're always here for you, so we'll be more than happy to walk you through any questions that you may have. The end. Thank you,
And
everybody. Go ahead.
Jim, where can people subscribe to what? Where?
Well, let's see if I can get this right this time. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit the little subscribe button down below. And then if you ring the bell, you'll be notified anytime that we have new content on our YouTube channel. I should just record that because I don't know why. At the beginning of the show, I can't seem to say it. But yeah, connect with us on our social media, whether it's YouTube, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Facebook. We would love to have you as part of our social media plan. So thank you so much for joining us today. A little bit of an insight as to what's coming for the rest of 2025 with GTO 2.0. And again, we look forward to talking to you more about it. If you have any other questions, reach out. Otherwise, have a fantastic week, and we will talk to y'all soon.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you for watching this episode of GTO Coach and Go. We invite you to stay connected with Group Travel Odyssey on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and be sure to check out more of our media, including Destination Dispatch and the Destinations Beyond Expectations podcast. Please visit our website, grouptravelodyssey.com, where you can learn more about GTO and request a demo. Group Travel Odyssey, business without boundaries.